The Guadalquivir is the fifth longest river in the Iberian Peninsula, and the second longest river with its entire length in Spain. The Guadalquivir is 657 kilometers long and drains an area of about 58,000 square kilometers. It begins at Canada de las Fuentes in the Cazorla mountain range, passes through Córdoba and Seville and ends at the fishing village of Bonanza, in Sanlúcar de Barrameda, flowing into the Gulf of Cadiz, in the Atlantic Ocean. The marshy lowlands at the river's end are known as Las Marismas. It borders Donana National Park Reserve. The Guadalquivir River is the only great navigable river in Spain. Currently it is navigable to Seville, but in Roman times it was navigable to Córdoba. The ancient city of Tartessus was said to have been located at the mouth of the Guadalquivir, although its site has not yet been found. Name. The modern name of Guadalquivir comes from the Arabic al-Wadi al-Kabir, big riverbed, or big wash. Classical Arabic wadi is pronounced in present-day Maghrebi Arabic as wed. There were a variety of names for the Guadalquivir in classical and pre-classical times. Baretes was its name to the Romans, and Greek geographers sometimes called it the River of Tartessus. Before Phoenician, Greek, and Roman colonists arrived, two indigenous names for the river may have been Curtis, Syrtis and Raix. History. River trade. The Phoenicians established the first anchorage grounds and dealt in precious metals. The Romans, whose name for the river was Betis Baretes, settled in Hispalis in the 2nd century BC, making it into an important river port. By the 1st century BC, Hispalis was a walled city with shipyards building longboats to carry wheat. In the 1st century AD, the Hispalis was home to entire naval squadrons. Ships sailed to Rome with various products, minerals, salt, fish, etc. During Arab rule between 712 to 1248, the Moors left a stone dock and the Tor del Oro, to reinforce the port defences. In the 13th century, Ferdinand III expanded the shipyards, and from Seville's busy port, grain, oil, wine, wool, leather, cheese, honey, wax, nuts and dried fruit, salted fish, metal, silk, linen and dye were exported throughout Europe. After the discovery of the Americas, Seville became the economic center of the Spanish Empire as its port monopolized the transoceanic trade and the Casa de Contratación wielded its power. As navigation of the Guadalquivir River became increasingly difficult, Seville's trade monopoly was transferred to Cadiz. The construction of the artificial canal known as the Quarter de Molina in 1794 marked the beginning of the modernization of the port of Seville. In late November 2010, the new Seville lock began to function as a regulator of the tides to finish 5 years of work. Flooding. The Guadalquivir River basin occupies an area of 63,085 square kilometers and has a long history of severe flooding. During the winter of 2010, heavy rainfall caused severe flooding in rural and agricultural areas in the provinces of Seville, Córdoba and Jaén in the Andalusia region. The accumulated rainfall in the month of February was above 250 liters per square meter, double the precipitation for Spain for that month. In March 2010, several tributaries of the Guadalquivir flooded, causing over 1,500 people to flee their homes as a result of increased flow of the Guadalquivir River, which on the 6th of March 2010 reached a volume of 2,000 cubic meters per second in Córdoba and 2,700 cubic meters per second in Seville. This was below that recorded in Seville in the flood of 1963, when a volume of 6,000 cubic meters per second was reached. During August 2010, when flooding occurred in Jaén, Córdoba and Seville, 3 people died in Córdoba as a result. Irrigation. A reconstructed waterwheel is located at Córdoba on the Guadalquivir River. The Molino de la Albalafia waterwheel, originally built by the Romans, provided water for the nearby Alcázar gardens as well as being used to mill flour. The Alcázar was the castle and royal residence of Córdoba, inhabited by the caliphs in Islamic times, and later by the Spanish royalty. Pollution. The Donana disaster, also known as the Aznalcóllar disaster or Guadalquivir disaster, was an industrial accident in Andalusia. In April 1998, a holding dam burst at the Los Frailes mine, near Aznalcóllar, Seville province, releasing 4 to 5 million cubic meters of mine tailings. The Donana National Park was also affected by this event. Bridges. Of the numerous bridges spanning the Guadalquivir, one of the oldest is the Roman Bridge in Córdoba. Significant bridges at Seville include the Puente del Alamillo, Puente de Isabel II or Puente de Triana, and Puente del Bicentenario. Dams. The El Tranco de Bes Dam at the head of the river was built between 1929 and 1944 as a hydroelectricity project of the Franco regime. Doña Aldonza Dam is located in the Guadalquivir riverbed, in the Andalusian municipalities of Ubadar, Piel de Becerro and Torreperojil in the province of Jaén. Ports. The Port of Seville is the primary port on the Guadalquivir River. The Port Authority of Seville is responsible for developing, managing, operating, and marketing the Port of Seville. The entrance to the Port of Seville is protected by a lock that regulates the water level, making the port free of tidal influences. The Port of Seville contains over 2.7 thousand meters of berths for public use and 1.1 thousand meters of private berths. These docks and berths are used for solid and liquid bulk cargoes, roll-on, roll-off cargoes, containers, private vessels and cruise ships. In 2001, the Port of Seville handled almost 4.9 million tons of cargo, including 3 million tons of solid bulk, 1.6 million tons of general cargoes, and over 264,000 tons of liquid bulk. Almost 1,500 vessels brought cargo into the port, including more than 101,000 TEUs of containerized cargo. Image gallery. Guadalquivir River, Córdoba. Guadalquivir River, Seville in 2014. Guadalquivir River near Correa del Rio, Seville. Guadalquivir and Quinto Centenario Bridge, Seville. Cormorants in Lower Guadalquivir.